Merry Christmas, friends! Welcome to my Christmas book recommendations video. You are joining me today in my living room with my beautiful Christmas tree. I'm so excited to have it. This is a real tree that we got this year, and I think it's definitely my favorite. This December has been a ton of fun so far, and I've just tried to immerse myself in all of the holiday everythings. So the hot cocoa and the Christmas music, quiet, sweet moments at home with my family, just decorating our Christmas tree together and enjoying quality time. We've been going through the Advent season, reading the Christmas story to our little one, all about Jesus, and just enjoying good food, making gingerbread cookies, hanging out with family, just all the fun things, decorating. Another way that I've decided to kind of immerse myself in the season is listening to Christmas-themed books. And I'm newer to this subgenre, but the ones that I've found have just been so heartwarming. And a lot of these Christmas books are also on the shorter side, so it makes it nice because you can finish a few of them during December. You know, you can read more than once. You get to enjoy more stories, more books. So, you know, it's not a huge exhaustive list that I have for you today, but I do think it is a short and sweet one. So without further ado, let's get into this list. Grab a delicious drink, get cozy, and enjoy these stories. So in this video, the books are grouped by genre. I'm going to be starting with the middle grade / children's books, then sharing a Christmas classic, followed by some mystery books that have a dash of romance, and lastly, some winter fantasy books. Okay, so the first one on this list I kind of mentioned, but me and my family have been going through the Jesus Storybook Bible by Sally Lloyd Jones. It's been so fun to like cozy up on the couch and read a little bit of the Christmas story every night, and then my daughter gets a little chocolate we eat out of our Trader Joe's Advent calendar when we're done. And it has just been such a great way to bond and warm our hearts with the knowledge of how good and wonderful Jesus is and how much he loves us. So highly recommend this one. And then another one that I think you will love, especially if you are a Tolkien fan, is Letters from Father Christmas by Tolkien. So of course he is the beloved author of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, but Tolkien also wrote as Father Christmas, letters to his own children. And so these are absolutely adorable. They're very personalized and involve the important historical context of what was going on at that time in England during World War II. So you see elements of that, but it's really Tolkien's imaginings of Father Christmas, what he would be like in the North Pole, and the adventures and mischief that he gets into with his friends, the polar bear and his secretary, the elf. And there's even some goblins that attack the North Pole at one point, and so Father Christmas has to go into battle with his friends to take it back, and so that is so cool to see, and you get that little bit of the Lord of the Rings Middle-earth vibe from those stories. Some of the letters are really short, and some of them he expanded into like these full-on adventure stories. So it's a blast, and I listened to the audiobook with my daughter, and the audiobook is fabulous because you can hear it obviously brought to life by actors playing Father Christmas and Polar Bear. At the end of each letter, at different points, there is this holiday music that plays, and it's just so like bouncy and cheery and kind of silly. So me and my daughter would stop whenever the music would come on and we would start dancing. And it's just a vibe. Another book that I loved, I'm so glad I read this year, is The Best Christmas Pageant Ever by Barbara Robinson. This one actually has been turned into a movie by Dallas Jenkins, the creator of the TV show The Chosen. So I'm really intrigued by that, and I'm very excited to check that out with my husband this year. You follow a character in the story who's a little kid living in this close-knit community where their local church does a Christmas pageant. They tell the nativity story every year, but what the kids really like about church isn't so much like Jesus and the story, although they like that, but what they love is that there's a bunch of kids who don't go to church in town named the Herdmans. The Herdman kids wreak havoc on this neighborhood. They are just disturbed, troubled kids, constantly getting into mischief and causing problems and bullying kids on the playground, and nobody likes them. And chaos ensues when the Herdman kids show up to the Christmas pageant auditions. This is a book that absolutely made me cry. You get to see like why the Herdman kids are the way that they are, some of the pain and brokenness that exists in their own lives, and this community of people who discover that actually the Herdman kids may get a better understanding of the Christmas story than others in the neighborhood. They grasp the story in a way that a lot of the other kids in town don't because of the brokenness and pain that they've experienced. They learn about the Lord, and it is just such a beautiful story. I highly recommend it. So the next one on this list is Greenglass House. This is a good middle grade that is set high up in the mountains in the snow at a smuggler's inn where a little boy named Milo lives with his adopted parents. And some very interesting, suspicious characters come to the inn at Christmas time, but then they are snowed in. They're not able to get down the mountain, back down the mountain, because it's too treacherous. And so Milo discovers, though, that objects are going missing in the hotel and strange things are happening. So he goes on his own investigation, meeting an unexpected friend along the way. And so this book is all kind of this Christmas mystery with Milo. It is very cozy, it's quirky and cute, very heartwarming, and it has a fun twist at the end. WINTERHOUSE is another good one by Ben GUTERSON. This one follows an orphan named Elizabeth who lives with her aunt and uncle, and they are not kind people at all. They ship her off at Christmas time to WINTERHOUSE, which ends up being this beautiful, magical hotel in a snowy landscape. Elizabeth really doesn't have any friends until she meets a boy at the hotel that ends up being just like her. He loves books and riddles and puzzles, and they end up finding their own mystery to solve in the hotel, all about Norbridge, the man who owns it, and his family, and the secrets that are being hidden in this hotel. And so there's some fun twists along the way, and it's a lot like the Mysterious Benedict Society. If you love that series of books, this one is perfect because it has like those puzzles and riddles that you're trying to solve along the way. Next up, I would say just a Christmas classic is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. This one is beloved for a reason, you know, following Scrooge as he pushes people out of his life and just focuses on money and trying to become more and more successful and rich, yet treating everyone around him like dirt at the same time. He gets a real rude awakening when he is faced with the death of his own friend who's become a ghost and cannot go into the afterlife because he did not live a life that was kind and loving, and he's kind of paying penance for the way that he treated people in his life. And so Scrooge is met with the spirit of Christmas past, of Christmas present, and Christmas future. And Scrooge is really faced with questions like what really matters most and how does he want to live his life? You know, what is a life well lived, basically. It ends with one of my favorite quotes of all time in a story where he says, "I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present, and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach." It's just chef's kiss. Okay, and now we move on into a new category, which is romance and mystery combined. So if you are a mystery lover, but you also like that dash of romance, I highly recommend The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Allie Carter. This book is so cute. I love it. It just recently came out this year. Look at how adorable this cover is, you guys. I just love like the classic Christmas feel. It's described as Knives Out with a holiday rom-com twist. Knives Out is such a compelling movie. And I would say it also has vibes of The Holiday, that movie, with Kate Winslet and Jack Black. Kind of has some similar feels to me. I admit I am not actually finished with the book just yet, but it has completely hooked me, and it's a page turner. So I foresee that I will finish this very soon. and I hear that it is clean. It is closed door, so I think we're gonna bump up against that and it will get spicy. A little bit spicy, just be forewarned, but completely closed door. And it's not just about the mystery, it's also about the romance, which is really cool. Next on this list is a cozy mystery. I am all about the cozy, and so this book absolutely delivered. It's called The 12 Sleighs of Christmas by Jacqueline Frost. This book follows a girl named Holly White who is unfortunately jilted basically 2 weeks before her Christmas Eve wedding by her fiance. He runs out on her, and so she sadly is heartbroken and goes back to her hometown of Mistletoe, Maine, where she goes to help her family get ready for the holidays. Her mom and dad own a Christmas tree farm, and unfortunately there is a murder at the Christmas tree farm and her dad is blamed. And so Holly takes it upon herself to try and find the real killer, and there's a little bit of a romance that ensues with her and the detective, which is a lot of fun. Kind of a love triangle as well. There was another guy that is involved. This one was exactly what I was looking for. You know, baking Christmas cookies, decorating Christmas trees, just like everything you want to enjoy during the holiday season. So that was a lot of fun. Kind of like does what it says on the tin kind of thing. A little bit formulaic, a little bit predictable, but that's kind of what you want sometimes. It's almost like comfort food, right? Another book by the same author, actually, she writes under pen names, is Apple Cider Slaying by Julie Ann Lindsay. So again, very similar book. I would say I didn't love it as much as The 12 Sleighs of Christmas just because it doesn't have as much of a Christmas focus. It's not quite as festive. It's actually set, it starts out actually on Black Friday. So that was kind of different and fun, has like a little bit of a Thanksgiving feel to it. Still set in the snow, and it's very similar in that it's a girl named Winnie who lives with her Granny Smythe, who owns an apple cider farm, I think it is. There's a murder on the property in the apple press, and her granny is blamed. And so Winnie, just like the previous book I mentioned, going on this mystery case to solve it and clear her granny's name. And of course, there's like a little bit of a romance that ensues with the sheriff. This one has a little bit more of like a southern feel, set in West Virginia, and it's a lot of fun. Hasn't held my attention quite as much as 12 Sleighs of Christmas has, but it's still a fun one if you're looking for a more subtle holiday theme. Okay, next up are two kind of more like winter fantasies. The first one is Spectacular by Stephanie Garber. This is a novella, so it is like a spin-off from the Caraval world. You know, if you love the Caraval story, you're gonna see a cameo of some favorite characters like Scarlett and Julian. The book actually follows Scarlett's sister Tella, who has a romance with a man named Legend. And Legend puts on these magical games full of puzzles for people to solve to kind of entertain people. And so Tella is trying to find him the perfect Christmas like holiday gift, and ends up falling into this puzzle, this mysterious game along the way. And so it kind of has that Caraval feel. It ended up being a lot more spicy than I was expecting, so I would just forewarn readers of that if that's not something that you're interested in, those elements. But I still really love the magical world and the Christmassy elements to the story, Holiday Eve, as it's called in the book. So definitely Christmas vibes for sure. And then the last one on this list is Winter, White and Wicked. Definitely a good one if you want something that just like is cold and icy and even a little bit gritty, because it involves some contemporary, like modern elements. Our main character Sylvie is actually a truck driver. She has a truck, but lives in a world that interacts with magic, and she even interacts with Winter herself. Winter is a character. The season is a character that speaks to Sylvie, and she has a connection to Winter. In this story, she's approached by a crew of people who are trying to smuggle something. And so they need to utilize her truck and her driving skills in order to smuggle this thing. But she doesn't know what it is, and so she kind of goes on this mysterious adventure, smuggling something in the truck and trying to figure out what it is. if this journey is really worth it to her. Some deep, rich like cultures explored that are magical and different from each other. So if that piques your interest, definitely check it out. It definitely has those cold, wintry vibes. And that is it, you guys, for my Christmas book or winter book recommendations. Let me know in the comments, drop a Christmas tree emoji if you're here. I would love to say hi. And let me know which one of these books piqued your interest and if you have any Christmas book recommendations for me. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.